falling fast, someone both feet on the ground. You dream so inspired, still smell the smoke and the fire. When I'm gone, what I feel the most.
It's your boy Conserviz34, and some sad news out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Dave Matthews Band was set to embark on their first two-night stand of the summer 2022 tour for Memorial Day weekend, and we find out here this afternoon that they have postponed both West Palm Beach shows, originally set for Saturday, May 28th, and Sunday, May 29th. Now, I heard rumblings and rumors. A bunch of people messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm hearing that there may not be a show. I hear things might not be good. It sounds like they're not having a show." And I wasn't sure what was true, what was false, until this announcement was posted on the Dave Matthews Band social media platforms here. And this was posted around 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it essentially said, due to a positive COVID case inside the band, we must regretfully postpone tonight and tomorrow night's appearances in West Palm Beach, Florida. We are incredibly sorry to all of our fans who plan to spend the holiday weekend with us. Please hold on to your tickets as we work towards a rescheduled date. Now, this is a bitter pill to swallow. We have had other weekends where certain members were out due to positive cases. I think of the Gorge weekend where we did not have Stefan and Carter. I went to that weekend. I live streamed video from that weekend and my initial reaction. And you guys can take a look at a little bit of that here.
I was getting ready to check into the hotel and saw this as I was waiting for some pizza. It says, despite thorough safety protocols of potential exposure to the COVID-19. Now, my initial concern was the possibility that this would be streamed. They were going to tell us, hey, you can't come in, or you go out and get it streamed over the hill. That was the worst of the worst cases.
And without Carter and Stefan, the band did its thing. It was a wonderful weekend. I was so glad I made the trip for the second time ever. We then get past the Gorge, and I'm ready to go to MSG Night 2. I couldn't make Night 1, and all of a sudden, before MSG Night 1, we find out Jeff Coffin caught C19, and yet again, there was another roadblock, but Ben, the sax guy, did his thing. Really held it down for Jeff, and we were able to overcome that. What's different about this hurdle is the fact that, again, Dave Matthews is the heart and soul of this band. If he's not on stage, you can't play. You can't market it as the Dave Matthews Band. I'm sorry. I love Buddy. I love the rest of the band. You can't have someone else sing at this point while he's living and call it the Dave Matthews Band. So people flew down there, and now, a couple people are leaving. Some people may stay and just try to enjoy the warm weather down there for Memorial Day weekend in Florida. But it's sad to see responses from fans I know and love, friends I know and love, that are heartbroken. They're devastated because they invested so much to make this a special weekend, and there's not going to be shows. Some fans will not be able to travel back. This is also a critical juncture in the band's touring. We've had some amazing shows, in my opinion. We've had some amazing surprises. We've had rare songs played in more frequent rotation, but some fans wanted that diversity. 2 nights of no repeats is pretty much guaranteed at this era of the band, and that's not going to happen. So now we have to wait longer. We have to see when Dave and the rest of the band will be ready. I do believe personally that it is Dave Matthews that caught it, because again, every other person that's caught it within the crew, they moved on, they were able to play. I think that it's Dave. I don't know for sure. Whoever it is, whoever is affected, I want to send my best to the rest of the band. But I do think it is Dave Matthews who, again, has done some amazing things, not only just last year, but even this year with some of the recent tragedies and some of his personal opinions about this country, Dave has spoke his mind, whether you agree, if you disagree, whether you agree on some things or other things. He has made a point to really, really do some great things as far as trying to bring joy to the fans of all backgrounds, of all political views when he steps on stage. And it has been a wonderful thing to have him because I'm not going to lie, it's been a tough couple of months of tragedies and hardships within our country. And Dave's music has helped me to just, heal and then go back to see how I can help change the world. So there'll be more information to come. It does say postponed, so I'm thinking we will get a show at some point, maybe in July or August. I don't know for sure, but I think that this will be rescheduled. There are some open slots that it can be rescheduled. But let me know what you guys think. How are you guys feeling? Are you in West Palm Beach? Are you somewhere else and just concerned about this being a roadblock in the tour? And again, to the crew, if you're watching this, I don't know if you've watched the videos. I just want to send my best to everyone: Rab, Rashawn, Buddy, Tim, Carter, Dave, Jerry, the bus driver, everyone in the crew. I just want to send my best to and hope that you guys are able to recover from this and then keep rolling on this tour. If you're watching this video as it drops on May 28th, 2022, I will be doing a live stream tonight. That's Saturday, May 28th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk to some people from West Palm Beach. We'll even talk to some people, if you want to come on and you're not in West Palm Beach, share your thoughts on this topic and this unfortunate news. If you want to send your best wishes to Dave on the stream as well, we'll add you onto the stream, audio only or audio and video. Again, 9 p.m. Eastern, YouTube ConcertViz 34. And for all of those who have lost a comrade that has served this country, or you've lost a loved one who died defending this country, we just want to send. Yes, this is live. This is live. This is just the intro. Heinz and Jen that gave the ultimate sacrifice, their life to help us be free. We wish all those a happy Memorial Day. And remember, this holiday is not about the picnics. This holiday is to remember those who gladly served their country and ultimately lost their life. It's your boy ConcertViz 34. I'll see you guys tonight. Peace. What up? What up? It's your boy ConcertViz 34. I come to you obviously on a night where, listen, it's difficult in so many different ways for not only the band but for fans and for crew and even those who the businesses, right? The businesses in the West Palm Beach area. If you have not heard, there is a positive test within the band for Dave Matthews Band. Due to that, the show for today, May 28th and May 29th in West Palm Beach, Florida, are going to be postponed. Um, this has not been canceled. There will be a rescheduled pair of dates for this show. I am going to bring on our first guest who has been with us for a lot of this Southern run, he's been planning to tape these. He's taped these shows, and he planned to tape this weekend. And this is going to be Mark. He is heading back home from Florida. So let's go ahead and bring in Mark. Mark, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So we just played the intro video, just kind of breaking down the band's post on this postponement. Walk us through your day that started off in West Palm Beach, Florida.
So let me begin by saying these shows being scheduled for May are a godsend. I don't know how many people have talked about this yet, but literally West Palm Beach in July and August is not quite unbearable, but very close to unbearably hot. Like, hard to breathe outside at times, over 100, car batteries melt. It's broken 2 of my laptops before. Literally, like, crazy stuff happens in West Palm. In May right now, high 80s, breezy, beautiful weather. So already I wake up, I'm in a great mood. And West Palm is completely slammed because it's a holiday weekend, whether you're there for shows or not. So woke up in a great mood, went to the beach for a few hours. Lots of DMB people on the beach, which was a little different than years past. I saw 2019 summer tour shirts. I saw Dave Canopy Tents. Heard Dave music. Saw a lot of people at the beach on A1A in Palm Beach, which was really cool. And it was just overall great vibe, really nice day. Swam a little bit, hung out, and then I said, well, I'm pretty hungry, so I'm going to head over by the venue to get some food. And it was at that time, around 12:30 or so, that the news had leaked online, on Ants. I saw it, and a couple people had texted me, and that was well before the band had announced, but I guess it was confirmed at that time. And so, I've fallen victim to cancellations by bands before, and so I wanted to wait for an official confirmation. So I went to eat at a really great Mexican spot, and that was when the band posted. So I went over to the venue, and just to see, how things were going, because it was on my way out to get back to I-95. And it was late enough in the day where all the early parking had already gotten in, and so there are RVs and tents set up everywhere. And there's also a gun show going on. It's on, I think, Financial Amphitheater is on the like South Florida Fairgrounds or whatever it's called. I may be getting the name mixed up with Tampa's, because Tampa's is also on the fairgrounds. So they have exhibitions and things that go on at the same time. Like there was a graduation thing going on in Tampa around that show. Well, West Palm had a huge gun show going on, so hundreds and hundreds of people were there for that. But also, the day of tailgating was raging at that, so in a good way, like lots of stuff going on. So I wanted to check things out, feel it out, and then a lot of people were telling me that the venue itself was refunding everyone's parking, so that was nice. But I did that. I was a little disappointed, but I understand that these things happen. It was inevitable that it was going to happen at some point, because it's happening to almost every major tour. And so, got ready to head home, and here I am in Georgia.
Gotcha. And so you said there were some RVs, and so some people were able to get in to the actual lots before it was actually announced that it was canceled.
Right, yeah. So similar to a lot of the other amphitheaters, West Palm does early bird parking, which starts at whatever time, noon or before, and you can pay like $20 to do that. And then the free parking opens at whatever, 3 or 4, and that's when most people file in. But due to West Palm being one of the 5 or so destination venues, you're always going to have people that will fee to get in there to set their actual tailgates up. So on one side, there's 20 or 30 RVs, and then next lot over, there's like actual normal car tailgating, like you would see at like Hartford and Atlanta. And so that was going on, and the normal lots had not opened at this time, and they never did open, but there were legit tailgates going on. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see or interact with any other fans there before, like when
Yeah,
the news broke?
absolutely. So I talked to before or after the news broke?
Before and after.
Before at the beach, yeah, I saw D&B fans, and they were from all over, and they were in a great mood. And then, just normal D&B fan talk. And then after, when I made it a point to like walk up to the Trents just so I could take a photo with my warehouse ticket, kind of corny thing, but I wanted to be like, in 10 years, hey, remember that time the show got canceled? So I took a photo. was talking to people at the box office, and which is right there at the entrance, and people were disappointed, but they're like, we're still going to try and make the best of the weekend because people come from all over for West Palm, so it's not like I would assume many people are not like me where they can just hop in and out of a show, drive straight there, drive back. This one's kind of far for me. I do that for a lot of D&B destination, like take a family trip type of D&B show, and so these people are going to stay all weekend, go to the beach, do everything they would do except the shows.
Gotcha. And we have the picture pulled up. I saved that photo with your ticket, and you got your thumbs down, and we see the gates there empty, the tent up, the I Think Amphitheater logo in the background with the roof. And yeah, it's just, it's heartbreaking to see pictures like yours and comments from other fans there that are upset. Now, do you think are you going to try to go to the rescheduled shows?
Absolutely. West Palm for me has always been, I would consider it like the closest two-night stand to me in Georgia, even though I think it's not. Don't quote me on this, but I think if you Google Maps Deer Creek from Atlanta, it might be a little bit closer than the West Palm Drive, or it's very similar, if not shorter. But I always like going down to West Palm, and the vibes are great, and the fans are great. The venue's awesome, and it's absolutely beautiful beaches. So I'll definitely go back, and they could maybe fit this in after the tour stops in Virginia Beach for a month. Remember we talked last week about they threw that Orange Beach rescheduled show in 2018 after West Palm. Well, maybe they threw West Palm after Virginia Beach or something similar this time, hopefully.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like I didn't realize this. Yeah, you're 8 hours. The center of Atlanta is 8 hours 33 minutes from Deer Creek. So, and I forgot how north Atlanta is in Georgia. You're right by North Carolina and the Tennessee border. So yeah, you're about the same drive, if not closer, depending on where you are in Atlanta Metro, to Deer Creek than you are to West Palm Beach, where Florida is very, very north-south long. So yeah, by the time you hit traffic, going through Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Daytona Beach on 95, and then you hit the traffic, I'm sure taking 75 to 10. You take 75 to 10 to 95?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I figured it. Yeah, because I have family all across Florida and Georgia, grandparents.
Unless Tampa's first, then I do Tampa, then 95.
Right.
I
Oh,
mean,
right.
75
Yeah.
straight down Tampa. But, when I used to only do West Palm, so yeah, it's 75, 10, 95.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts about this day and about this this unfortunate situation?
I see a lot of negativity online, but that's, kind of typical for situations like this, I would assume. But just being the big music fan that I am and that you are as well, we see this happen to literally this just happened to Pearl Jam. They're not making those shows up, by the way, those two shows. They're just outright canceled after being postponed for years. It seems like every major tour gets affected by something. Like last year, I had tickets to see the Foo Fighters in Inglewood at the Forum in LA, just because I'd gone to the MSG, quote unquote, let's reopen New York City with rock music. And Foo, burned MSG to the ground. Probably the best show I've ever seen. So I was like, oh, Foo's on this kick where they're going to reopen everything. And so they were going to reopen the Forum in LA. Well, then they got COVID and had to move that. I was not able to make the makeup because it hit when D&B Virginia Beach hit. But, I've been affected by these things already during COVID, and it's not too disappointing to me because D&B traditionally always makes these types of postponements up. Now, one thing I was going to ask you, because I haven't been able to check since I've been driving, is I remember there were some years, maybe like 2010 or 2009, where I think like Camden got moved and some other shows got moved. I don't remember the exact situation, but I was going to see when the last time a two-night stand or just general shows have gotten moved. Now, I know like Leroy's funeral and things like that, but I think there were some East Coast ones where it happened too.
So we do have 2009. They moved Camden. So September 22nd and 23rd was the dates it was supposed to be. They moved it to September 19th and September 20th. And let's take a look at the almanac. Um, let's see.
So it's been a long time
Since what they've canceled or rescheduled.
since I think it's been just such a long time in general since they've taken like a 2 night stand or just normal shows in general and had to postpone them to different times of the year, right?
So
Like in the
diff-
middle of a tour.
yeah, so I will say last year at Mohegan they had to move one of the days.
Oh yeah, was that for the secret show at Foxborough?
Right. So that was the DraftKings CEO. I have a friend who works for DraftKings, graduated from we both were communication majors, same school. DraftKings, the CEO's wife, had a birthday, so they moved night one became night two, and night two became night one. And the people thought initially it was for album promotion. Obviously, no album came, but they did. The second night was supposed to be November 10th. That show, technically, they said it's canceled, and they rescheduled it to. And also, they did move Mohegan's Sun was supposed to be the opener in 2020. These two shows that I went to last year, it was supposed to be the opening night of shows in 2020, and they rescheduled it. But obviously, a lot of stuff was rescheduled for 2021.
Right. That was an interesting one because I remember when the tour got announced in 2020. Well, can you believe that? So that's like 2.5 years ago. But
Yeah.
when that tour got announced, I remember it went Mohegan 1, Mohegan 2, Charlotte. And I was like, oh, I'm going to miss the tour opener just because it's all the way in Connecticut. And then it comes down to Charlotte. But that was such an interesting way to open the tour. Really cool, though, to open it with a 2 night stand.
Yeah, and also we did have last year the Oklahoma shows were completely and outright canceled. So
That's
they
right.
rescheduled them. They rescheduled them, and then they were canceled. So originally they actually rescheduled it twice because initially they for 2021 it was supposed to be October 8th, 2021. And then they moved it to October 15th and 16th, and then they just got canceled.
Right.
Yeah, there's been a couple of different things, but this one is a gut punch, I think, because there were people upset, and this is they're right. They were upset about the variety, even though they've heard Two Step already. They've heard Dreaming Tree, although it was nice to have. Obviously, listen, I'll take Dreaming Tree every show, but some people were like, "Hey, the variety was just messing with them mentally." Because 2021 had much more, and this was the weekend that, hey, this is what the band's going to do. They're going to have two shows, no repeats, and if there's so much of the same songs being played every night, there had to be, like, we were going to get new songs, both nights, because they just had been playing Warehouse so many times, Nancy so many times. So I think that's the unfortunate thing here, is that you had this shining weekend, and like you said, the cooler temperatures in Florida. I can relate. I've gone to Florida in April. I've gone to Florida in August, a couple of times, both ways, and it's totally different in July, August versus April, May.
Absolutely. Just overall great vibe. But the good news is for those people, as we discussed after the Tampa show, we have 3 2-night stands in a row. Now, we'll see, depending on the severity of COVID, which I agree with you that it's most likely Dave, because they could do alternative format with any other band member out. It's got to be Dave. So, depending on the severity of his COVID, will Charleston be affected? Likely not. I wouldn't rule out that 100%, but likely not. And so we've got Charleston back-to-back with Jacksonville. Those are 2 2-night stands in a row. So
Right.
within the next week, we do have some big opportunities for more songs to come out.
Right, and we have that put up here on the screen that Friday, June 3rd is the next show. In some ways, that's a blessing that there's nothing midweek for this upcoming week. So they'll go to Charleston, and then they'll come back down to Jacksonville after that. But that's really, we'll see what happens. There are some pills there, at least one pill has been approved, and I know from Johnny Swim, which Johnny Swim will be playing at the same Ocean City, Maryland festival as DMB. And Johnny Swim's lead singer Abner Ramirez got the 19, and he took the pill, and his symptoms went away very quickly. And hopefully, if there is medicine to get him, Dave, to have a negative test and the symptoms to go away, if there's something that can expedite that, and he's well, or whoever it is, if it's not him, I really hope that they'll be able to play Friday. And I think, listen, it's Saturday, so you have, a week to really see what will happen.
Right. So, really looking forward to Charleston. COVID is unfortunately attacks the lungs if, depending on, there's so many, factors at play with COVID, but it will attack the lungs in some situations. So as long as Dave is good to go vocally and he feels confident that he can play, then let's get this done and really hit a nice 2-night stand in Charleston at a venue that DMB has never played before. The David Tim show there was absolutely fantastic. Fish will have burned the place down 2 days before or whatever. I think it goes Fish 2 days, day off, 2 DMBs. So that's a huge run of shows for Mount Pleasant and Daniel Isleston and all the little communities right there. So that's going to be a really nice for them. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The Low Country will be getting a lot of jams here between DMB and Fish. Fish being first for a couple of nights, and then they get a little bit of a break, a couple of days, and then it's DMB. So yeah, it's great, and it's a, as we've talked about on previous shows, this is a growing portion of the country. It is the new Florida, it is the new North Carolina, and it's in between both of those states. A lot of Northeasterners traveling, and a lot of from other parts of the country to go here, and then a lot of Northeasterners are in various parts of South Carolina, from Hilton Head at the Georgia line to Charleston, and also some are looking around, are outside of Columbia or on the coast just east of Columbia. From what I've seen, friends, family, people I know in New England are all down there. Retirement, job relocation, just getting out of the cold weather relocation. There's a lot of people there, and if they can get those shows on the road, if everyone's okay and well, it should be some great pair of shows there for Charleston.
Oh yeah, even people on vacation. So when I would fly, I used to live very close to Savannah. The college I went to is very close to Savannah, and every time I would fly from the Northeast back to Savannah, from Boston or New York or Philly or even DC, there were so many Northeasterners on those flights, those small CRJ jets coming into Savannah that are just taking these long vacations, whether for weeks or months at a time, in Hilton Head and the Savannah area and all that.
Yes, and people think they're from the South. They listen to a little bit of country music up here in New England. They go down to visit Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach, the Outer Banks, even parts of Florida, and they think they're literally Southerners in New England. So it's a very interesting change I noticed growing up. As I got older, you started to see that those are destinations part time, like you said, 2 3 weeks. People will literally be out there for 2 or 3 weeks, or be snowbirds. Um, just because that's it's a very very beautiful part of the country for people who are freezing here in Connecticut and New England and in general New York City, Jersey. So, well,
Yeah.
Mark, I want to say thank you for being on. Have you safe travels? I know you're still on the road, correct?
Yeah, but about an hour from the house, which the drive went
Okay.
very quickly. I hit the Lex up from Scranton 22, which Zach recommended me earlier today. I forgot how good that show is, so that was a nice way to pass some time.
You probably know my issue with that show, right?
Actually, I don't. I know a lot about your feelings about the D&B community, but I didn't know that you had an issue with that show.
So here's the thing. I'm pulling up the set list now. That busted stuff where Dave is not even playing.
Yeah.
that busted stuff frustrates me because it came back. My friend got the Liberation Hartford opening night, but the fact that Dave was not playing and Tim literally is just blasting the part because there's no acoustic guitar, it frustrates me because that song was one of the best acoustic percussive displays of the band.
Yeah.
And Dave got lazy and didn't want to play his guitar. And then Tim was turned all the way up in 2010. Tim was extremely loud. Great show, Stone opener. I have, like I said, I've listened to this live track, at least 3 or 4 times. Two-step closer. You got a cry freedom, lie in the hands of God. 41 after busted stuff. I like parts of this show, but I just think that the Tim C. DC and busted stuff is frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you huge on that. I don't know if we'll ever see that song again, but maybe.
Probably not. Probably not. And he's got the unique tuning for that guitar, and we'll have to see. But it doesn't look promising. So, all right. Well, Mark, it looks like even your signal is breaking up. It's going down to like red. But I want to thank you for being on, and like I said, safe travels back to your home. All right. So that was Mark. Um, Let me see. Oh, before we get DMB Mamas, we'll get you on in just a second. Let me find this post. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna post it to. Oh wait, I have my eye. Wait 1 second. I'm gonna pull up this. This was a cool little photo of. Let me download this photo. This was last week. I forgot to share this last week, but there's a picture of the rig for. All right, let's download it.
I agree.
And then we'll get to Demon. If anyone, we're gonna get Connor on as well. If Connor, if you're still here, we're gonna get you on after because we do want to have. Just hang tight, Connor. We'll get you the link in a second through Instagram DMs after we get DMB Mamas on. But I did want to go over this because this was kind of interesting. So this is Tim Reynolds shared this on social media. But this is what you guys are looking at right here is the setup for Dave's sound guy to mess, to activate the right guitar. And obviously you see high F star 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 star. And then we have tripping and balls. I don't know what those are. But the tripping and balls are right next to each other. So I don't know what those are. But I just wanted to I want to break this down. Some of you guys may know what this is, but I want to break this down. So at the top left, right here, you see this second. We're going to go across to this first row, second row, third row. And I'm going to break down what these are. And these buttons are kind of activate different guitars to go live because he has a wireless connector on each of these guitars. So the first one here, the top after second, number 11, if you guys see number 11 right there. Yeah, DMB One, just the pick from Tim. Number 11 is the first 12-string guitar. So there's two 12-string guitar setups for Dave. The first one is in standard tuning. Yeah, Connor, maybe that is for tripping billies. It could be just a certain guitar. Yeah, maybe. But the 12-string number 1 is going to be your standard tuning guitar. So this is like Gray Street. This is Big Eye Fish will be on this 12-string first, number 1. 12-string number 2 is most likely his drop D guitar, 12-string. So the 12-string drop 3, think about Bartender. Oh, JTR is on the 12-string 1. So 12-1 also may have JTR amongst other songs. But the 12-1 is most likely JTR, Gray Street, Big Eye Fish, those type of songs. 12-2 is going to be your Don't Drink the Water bartender guitar for the full band. It's a 12-string guitar tuned to drop D tuning for bartender and Don't Drink the Water primarily. Number 13 is your baritone saxophone, baritone guitar. So a baritone guitar is the black guitar for So Right, What You Are, right? Those type of songs. Fool to Think. That's his Barry. That's short for baritone guitar. Number 14 is his two different guitars have this activated. The first one is the Griffin. That is the guitar that you have the red guitar for Shotgun in Idea of You. They also could set that up with the black Can't Stop one, right? That's going to be your Griffin, right? Griffin Avante. The uke, the UKE, that's going to be your ukulele for Sweet, right? And the number 15 is his electric. So he has two electrics he primarily uses. He uses the Fender Strat, which has which is Why I Am, right? Why I Am is on that. He also has the Gibson Les Paul Jr., which he's used for Samurai Cop, and he did use it for the Only Thing, but now he's using his acoustic guitar. But that's that acoustic. That's it. That electric guitars are all under that one signal. Now going down to the second row, where you see up in number 6. Number 6 right here is going to be his standard tuning 6-string guitar, right? He has 3 different guitars. He has 2 standard tuning 6-string guitars. That's 6-1. I would guess it's 6-1 and 6-2. And then he has his drop D guitar, which is 6-3, right? So those are his 3 standard tuning, the typical guitar you see Dave having. Don't Drink the Water will have that drop D. That could be 6. Oh wait, no. The drop D is right next there. Sorry, I'm mixing this up. So he has 3 different standard tuning 6-string guitars, and then drop D is going to be that Don't Drink the Water guitar. Sorry, I said yeah, because the 12-string is bartender. Don't Drink the Water is a 12-string. I'm sorry, I'm messing all this up. I should have prepared better for this. But yeah, Don't Drink the Water is going to be that 12-string. There. Now the high B guitar, that's the Lying in the Hands of God idea. Lying in the Hands of God, Sister. That's going to be that tan guitar he has. That's a raised B tuning, which is the same tuning as the baritone guitar. There's the same tuning. It's just this is an acoustic. So that's the setup for that. And then there's some other levers that are set up as well. But that's kind of how it is there for those guitars. That's how it's set up. But yeah, just to correct myself, the 12-2 is not Don't Drink the Water. That's going to be the drop D one because it's the 6-string. And there's many other songs that are played amongst these guitars. 41 is one of 41 Satellite. Those are all standard tuning. Ants Marching standard tuning. There. So that's his setup. Now that we have that out of the way, what we want to do is we do want to bring on our next guest. She is a Florida resident, and she loves going to the shows in Florida and across the country. But she has her Twitter handle at DMB Mamas, which you'll see when she comes on. She has been a great help to me since I've entered the Twitter community, just introducing me to great people, supporting this channel. We've gotten to see, we've been introduced to her family as well, her son and her husband. And she was planning to go to these shows to enjoy Memorial Day weekend. So we want to hear some things from Leia, aka DMB Mamas. How you doing?
Hey, Marcus. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, and Jude's here as well.
Hey, Jude, how's it going?
Are we on video? Are we there?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, you can see us. Okay, and here's Lila, our dog,
Hey,
our big coon hound. Everybody's here. So
that's
yeah, how's
awesome.
it going? I don't see us, so but that's
No,
okay.
no worries. Yeah, we can see you, but just like tell us about this day. Just walk us through what you experienced today.
So I, as you know, was going ticketless and I had my rooms and I got on the road. I was just planning to head right to the venue and go straight to the hotel after the show. And I was in contact with Bridget Hale, and so, but I hadn't been, in touch with my phone. She'd left some texts and had been calling me, and finally, as I was on the road, I looked down and see all these calls from her, and she sounded pretty sad when I called her, and I had no idea what was up. And she was like, "Did you get my texts? Did you see, all the memes?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And she's like, "The show's been canceled or postponed, but cancel. I mean, it's pretty, you can, postponed is kind of still canceled in the sense of not tonight or tomorrow or the next night or the night after that." So for people like me, I'm driving 3 hours and 15 minutes, and my only sort of logistical issue really is not being able to refund my hotel, which when I'm just sort of starting my drive, all of a sudden I have, $450 worth of hotel room, which, I'm budgeting. I canceled one, I moved it just so I'd, be in that sweet spot price range, good enough because you're not spending your time in the hotel. So for me, some shows I want to be at the primo, but being a resident, it's sort of like a local thing. It's like, okay, what's good enough? And so I had booked my room, and I'm going to stay at the Marriott at the Residence Inn, and it was a 48-hour cancellation. So my whole thing was like, oh my gosh, I sort of have to go and go to this, you know, so logistically, of course, comes after the whole emotional, who's sick, what's going on. Hearing it's Dave, more than likely, because, as you know, at the Gorge, the show went on, and
Yeah.
that's sort of Dave's philosophy. So, that was sort of the impression that we all had. And so, of course, all concerned. But at the same time, we had known that there were they were doing their sound checks, and they weren't, like, nobody was down, nobody was, thank God, hospitalized or ill to the point where we'd hear about something. Yeah, it seems like these days people are getting a positive test and they're like asymptomatic. And so, in the sense of that, because I'm sure in years past, any one of those band members haven't felt well. I'm sure, I know, in fact, like Jeff Coffin has run off the stage to hurl, you know. So people, and I know men, I don't want to, be sexist, but men tend to be way more able to work through ailments, especially, a lot of bands, when you have to, the show must go on mentality. Um, that's what's kind of tragic and really devastating about stuff like this, where, somebody's sick and God forbid, they're not so sick, but, if in fact, it's, you don't have symptom, and or, you're kind of less sick than you'd be if you'd ever go on in the past. I mean, these guys have gone on for 30 years. I wonder, I'm like, how do you go on? I can't even keep up with their touring as a fan. And sometimes when I go to shows, we went to Tampa on Wednesday and it was so amazing. But, I experience anxiety in the morning, like pre-show jitters, like, oh my gosh, okay, like getting your bearings, where are you going? The logistics, I mean, all of it. So it's a huge deal. And we both know of a lot of people that don't have a lot of money that, kind of went at the last minute. For me, I'm close by, but there are people that flew, that have been putting, 2 days worth of travel. And for us, Marcus, this is reminiscent to the gorge. You
Yes.
know, I mean, it's like a 3+ hour drive just to the hotel and then another hour plus drive. And it was like, I found out right before I got to the hotel. And that was like, oh, I have jitters around the thought of like alternate format. It's like, whoa, like that was so shocking and devastating across country. I'm by myself. So here it wasn't so devastating in that sense, but there are other people. I know there are people that have traveled far and wide that this was a really major deal to, you're here and of course you're at the beach and it's fabulous. And everybody does do their thing. I mean, my gosh, you're at the beach, you're still going to do your beach thing. But people came to go to the shows, and it's still there's a tragedy around that, because a lot of those people aren't going to be able to come back. A lot of those people, really had to, part seas to make it to those events and work and school. I know here in Florida, Jude, has just finished his last week here. May is amazing weather-wise, but I know for a lot of people that live here with school-aged children, July was perfect for the sense that, logistically with the kids out of school, it just worked better. I mean, certainly, early June, once the kids are out of school, would be a perfect sweet spot, I suppose. But the weather was perfect, everything. It did feel very soon, in the sense of us being used to a little bit of a later showtime. But this was all really, as much as like you kind of have to roll with it. These are, this is show business. I mean, there's just a huge audience and a limited people that are involved with the band and crew, and there's a huge operation, but one positive test really affects a huge number of people on every level. And financially, there are people that, I'm sure nobody wants to gripe about it. And, I get it, but people do have the right to, it's traumatic. I mean,
Yes, it is.
it is. And I'm sure, gosh, I can only imagine for Dave or whoever is, I don't want, I never saw the formal, I mean, we assumed it's Dave, but I'm sure, could you imagine like how many people, like your positive test is affected? I mean, that's got to be devastating for the band as well. And it's just so, these times are challenging. This is a really perfect example of how this pandemic and um, its impact on so many different levels. And one person, and sure, you have your contact, and one person can make other, that contact spreading. But as far as really, especially with a concert, how many people are actually truly affected? I mean, a financial trauma like that is impactful. And so I just want to acknowledge that, people do have a voice to gripe about what, I have a friend who's local, who had to really like kind of, be a mom for her kids and say, okay, like we don't always get what we want. We have to keep rolling with it. And, she dried her eyes and, put on her big girl pants and, just sort of like had to just chin up. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard for everybody. It's really, I don't want to diminish the impact it does have. I mean, it's great. I almost went the distance and spent the weekend and just enjoyed it. But I was like, like that's like $450 for my son's summer camp that I can sign him up right now. And it might, in a week when I would sign up otherwise, it might not be there. So, it's nothing to sneeze at. No pun intended.
Right. And I think that's a good point. As long as people are not blaming the band, and I don't think anyone is,
No, it's not the band.
there's some, there's always the whole
It,
argument about, they should play even though it's just COVID, and I don't want to get too far into that, but
insurance and the
yeah,
liability. I
right.
mean, it's
That's
just
what
a
it is. It's
huge deal.
you can't
They
play, and
can't.
Yeah, and I'm in the insurance industry. I know all
Yeah.
about the net, looking at risk, mitigating risk, protocol. In order for you to get a payout from insurance, you have to
Yes.
have these,
Yes.
regardless of even if Dave feels fine or whoever it is.
Exactly.
But I do think you make a great point that it is okay as a fan if you were frustrated, upset, angry because of this situation. It's not a first world problem because many fans invest in this because this is a therapy, right?
Yes.
This is an
Yes.
escape, and the band
Yes.
had a big ask of fans this year. We all made the sacrifice. We said, look, we want the stagehands to be paid fairly. We want the parking lot attendants to be compensated. We believe that even though these prices went up, people made sacrifices to go to these shows, and now they are out of money, and it's a reality. People drove. Maybe they couldn't afford a lawn ticket, but the gas prices, when they bought that ticket, gas was at a certain price, and they
Yes.
even said, "Hey, I know gas is this high. I'm still driving down to see Dave." And
Yep.
this some people, this is their only event escape all year. The rest of the year, they have
Yes.
to, like you said, summer camp. Like you said, with there's other things that they have to pay for their family, and this everything has gone up. So I really I want to say in my opinion, if you're feeling upset, if you have pain, it is justified. It's not obviously people aren't blaming the band, but this is a huge investment to for the average Joe, or no matter where you are, right? You have children, you don't have children. This is a big investment. The flights, I just got my flight for Deer Creek and Alpine, and it's the same cost that I paid to fly cross country to Seattle on late on Labor Day weekend. The same cost that I paid for last year to go to Seattle. It's the
Wow.
same price range to just go to from Connecticut to Chicago, which is, it was half the price a year and a half ago. Or no, before the take it away, before the pandemic pricing ups and downs, it was half the price to go to Chicago. Um, so it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. The flights are, that's a whole other level of commitment and investment, and then traveling back, and it's a lot. It really is. I mean, it's, every, it's, none of it can be diminished as far as its impact on everyone involved, including the fan base and the spectators. I mean, I feel for the whole situation.
And if you can just talk about your page, I need to go grab something from the stove. But if you just want to, I have your Twitter page up. Just talk to us about your DMB Mamas page, and what's that all is about while I step aside here.
So interestingly, my DMB Mamas page will be celebrating. This is our 4-year anniversary in July, which began right after the 2018 Tampa show. And I had started this page to really honor the female fan base. I felt that there were some amazing feeds and awesome bros, and some great things were happening. A lot of the stats, and just more of the sort of left brain, sort of male fan base, sort of you know uh, critique and analysis. And we sort of, I felt like there wasn't really a voice for the feminine, and I started this feed with the whole collective of the DMB female fan base in mind. And mamas, to me represented all the women, and sort of the voice in which I felt that DMB spoke to and honored that divine feminine, that matriarchal, um, Dave's roots being from South Africa, just that whole real feminine vibe and theme of the music. And So I wanted there to be a voice in that, and that was sort of my initial intention, was to really speak into that. What sort of happened, I think, right off the bat, where there were these amazing women that, and people in general, that sort of, and also, I just also want to mention that the mama, and I wouldn't be a DMV mama without my son Jude. So I want to just mention, I don't know if he's here in this picture. I think he
Yeah, we
wants to say
can.
something.
Yeah, we can see him.
Mom, I think you're sitting on one. Am I? I'm sorry. So I'm sitting on a Lego. He's building an awesome Jeep here. So I think what then happened was there was a lot of amazing people like you. I mean, not just women, but all sorts of people that were just all had these awesome, unique gifts. And in particular, there were a lot of teachers. And I always bring them up, you know, music teachers, wonderful mothers, you know, talented people, and creative people, entrepreneurs, just people that were really partly and mostly a lot of that philanthropic. I felt through. I've mentioned Angela Abend before, but she's there. Is that her? Yeah. And the Limkind Foundation. I just fell in love with that whole thing, and that sort of became a real passion fuel for me. As I've mentioned before, my dad was a deaf and blind Olympic qualified skier. He was a pace setter for the visually impaired category as a fully blind skier. And so on, you know, when he was the first blind ski instructor in the U.S. who skied out of Sunapee, New Hampshire. And there were a ton of paraplegic skiers. And so I grew up with people that, you know, had artificial limbs, and it always really moved me as a child. And so to see these children, you know, having people come, I'm sorry, my dog is attacking the Legos here, so we're having a little bit of a technical moment. We have an 80-pound dog. She's on your Legos. She sat on your Legos. Everybody, I'll move over here too. They have just been extremely inspiring, and you know, we just continue to attract these amazing people. I mean, and even on Facebook, across the board, there's some just awesome people that really support each other. There's just a certain connection that people have. I think that the Dave Matthews Band really attracts a certain type of person, really open-hearted, been through loss, and there's really a connection in that, a depth of spirit and feeling of like soul family tribe within our fan-based collective, and it just continues to grow. And I feel that for me, the feed has sort of been on cruise control. You know, we've been in a lot of transition. I know you've recognized we've moved around a lot. We even are continuing to venture to move up to Asheville. We really want to settle down in the mountains. So, you know, I need an office space, a little spot where I can really sit down and dig in and get to work. But we have a lot of things happening. Our game, Spectra, has just been launched, and we just put in another big marketing investment into that, which is really exciting. So we're about to really launch big with our India team, and we're, you know, available for download, spectragame.com. And so that's really cool. And we're going to be a Vegas table game, and that's in the works. Everything's just really happening quickly. So I'm excited for the next phase of DMV Mamas. I have so many amazing ideas. I mean, my dream personally, I mean, as we all do, but I would love to be affiliated with a band on the level of, you know, even like on every level, like merchandising. When I go to shows and I see the warehouse selection, I'm like, oh, you know, we need a little Lululemon inspired sizing. I mean, there's nothing in smaller women's sizing, you know, it could be way more updated. You know, there's just a lot happening. And I've been working with a couple of band members, band members from other bands, and just talking about some of their side gigs and helping to promote some of their work. I don't want to get too, in depth about that just yet, but I have a really good friend of mine who I want to connect you with, Marcus. His name is Timmy Fee. And he's been playing with this guy, you may have heard of the guy Dude Man, who's a lyricist for Fish. It's just kind of all these threads of friends. But he's played with John Popper, and he even actually played with Tim and Dave. And he was affiliated with the film called Secret Age of Rock and Roll. And also a film called Sidemen. And so the topic of Sidemen, like, these band members who have other bands that aren't like the leading forefront men who, during these times are these, whether the band members who aren't like Dave and Tim and have, even Tim, I mean, he wasn't, he had his Facebook thing, and we always talk about, like, why doesn't he have like 300,000, or 20,000 people, at least a show's equivalent of people watching, during all of this. So I really want to kind of continue to promote all those areas and just spend more time doing that as the game continues to unfold. And I'm excited to talk with you about that too. Just a lot of the PR and marketing and the promotional stuff. I'm going to be starting an SMMA, a social media marketing agency called, my dog is getting into something else now, Blue Lotus Media and Marketing. And pardon me, dude, she's getting. And so I would like to tie that in with my feed and just continue to, and Spectra, and continue to just really bring all these threads together. And particularly, with the game, to create a, that real philanthropic message of hope, and, really bring more of that, how we can create social change and bring the fan base into more power around that arena of helping to create change. And I think maybe primarily is bringing the fan base more, kind of connected with the bands, and to feel more like when we participate, we all are making a difference, and how we can interact in different ways. So I just have a ton of ideas, and but just looking forward to just settle down a little bit more and just start digging into the next level and plateau of the feed. So at our 4-year anniversary in July, it's cool. I started it. Sherry Bailey actually made a comment way back, like, why do people have like, handles and don't like use them, and I had the DMB Mamas for a little while, and I'm like, okay, that's it. And that's when I started it 4 years ago. So here we are. And we go right back to the very beginning, Marcus. I've known you since like day one, I think. I mean, we had that interview with David with Shut Up, I Love You, with Jesse.
Yes, that was way back, the back or typical DMB fan account, and I know he had to step away. He had a lot of different things he had to handle. But yeah, you've been a great supporter since I started doing more of the streaming and more of the live content about DMB. But we want to thank you so much for being on, and thank you for, you are a veteran of the DMB community. For those of you who don't know, she's been going to shows since the early 90s. But the thing that I like about your page is, again, this whole fan base is more than just the statistics and the set list and all that other stuff. It's about fans looking out for each other. It's about fans showing kindness and bringing hope. And that's what you'll find from the DMB Mamas handle. As she said, this is a great community for women, and not only just women, and to help women to feel like they're a part of this band's community, but for everyone who's looking for hope and happiness and joy. You're going to find it on this handle. It's not going to get, you're not going to see divisiveness. You're not going to see things, intimidating others. This is about love and kindness. And really, what this weekend is about is what making the best of what's around. This is what DMB Mamas is, the handle has been doing since July of 2018. So I just want to thank you again for
You
being,
too, Marcus.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully, Drew's able
Thank
to
you.
finish that Lego setup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's gonna bang that out real quickly.
All right. You have a good one. Take care.
You as well, Marcus. We'll be in touch.
Like, yeah, absolutely. Good night.
You're the best. Real deal there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love your work. Everything you do is pristine, Marcus. I'm really proud of your work. I'm just really grateful for you. You're an anchor.
Thank you.
So
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thanks so much,
Yeah.
Marcus. Okay, we'll talk soon. Happy
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Yes. Yes. Happy Memorial Day weekend to
Yeah.
all those who have experienced loss of a loved one in war and those who have lost comrades and fellow veterans in war. So you take care. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks, Marcus. Bye
All right.
bye
All right.
for now.
Yeah. All right. So that's DNB Mamas, and we thank her for being on here just to give us some, insight on her page. And again, this is a great, it's a great page. Just again, not everything about this band has to be set list. There's a lot of great things that are shared on this page, and it's very positive, uplifting. So that's a great thing. Yeah, the pizza looks good. Yeah. So I made semi homemade pizza. So this is what the second slice looks like. What I do is if you look right there, that's baby spinach in the sauce. You put the baby spinach in the sauce and you don't put it on top because it dries out. So when it heats up, the sauce gets in the baby spinach and you put the cheese over the baby spinach. So I bought some big wide dough. It's a local grocery store chain. And everything else is like the sauce and all that. I buy the sauce, the cheese, and the spinach, and I put it together. So I call it semi homemade. I made it at home, but it's fresh ingredients. I did not make the dough by myself. So, um, what was I gonna say before we bring on Connor? There was something else I was gonna say. I think it was just the pizza. So we're gonna bring on a fan. Connor he's been to a show here previously in the tour, but I wanted to talk to another fan about this weekend and about DMB. So Connor is gonna come on here. Connor, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So what was your reaction? Obviously, you weren't in West Palm Beach. What was your reaction when you started to see the rumors spread and then obviously the official announcement that this weekend was postponed?
I mean, yeah, I was pretty much in shock that Dave or whoever, I'm assuming it's Dave, but whoever came down with COVID, I got the notification from Ants and it said West Palm Beach show's canceled, and I was pretty much in shock about the whole thing just going down.
Yeah, no, it just kind of crept up. I mean, obviously these things they probably test in the morning but the rumors were swirling and then all of a sudden it's just like out of nowhere you get this escalation to a postponement. So with this postponement of these shows, do you know any people that were going to West Palm or are in West Palm right now?
Yeah, I have a few family friends that are down in West Palm right now.
Okay, and what's going through their minds, or what have they been saying to you about this weekend?
I mean, they're definitely bummed out. They're definitely in shock as well about the shows being postponed, but they're still going to be down in West Palm, enjoying the beaches, enjoying the warm weather, doing more stuff down there that, obviously isn't going to the shows, but they were definitely bummed and disappointed.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely tough here. And one of the things here that I wanted to bring up to you and the rest of the people watching is, and Justin just asked, if Dave has COVID. So Justin, we don't know if Dave has COVID. All signs point to that it is Dave that's the positive test because they've played with other members out. Rashawn was out for the first show, the before Austin, the official Austin show. He was
That
out for
private
a
event.
small gathering, yeah, the private event, and we don't know if he had any sort of if he was positive. There were rumors, but nothing has been official. And he was back the next day. But he was out. They still played. Jeff was out for MSG. They still played. And then Carter and Stefan were out for a period of the West Coast from the Gorge to Oregon to some of those areas out there. And then he came back. So we believe by process of elimination, it is Dave. But one of the things that I wanted to bring to everyone, especially to Connor, is this idea that maybe not only the band itself, but us as fans potentially need to kind of give the band space on tour. If we see Dave, obviously, hey, I'm not going to tell you not to take a picture, but we should really try to keep our distance, keep our contact away. Don't shake hands because um, this thing can be so random, but at the same time, even though it's random as far as when these things can happen, but the reality is if something is spread from a fan or even from a band member, Carter, going golfing, it could mean another year of a couple of more heartbreaks because maybe the band is too close to the fans. What do you think about that? That you think we should try to keep our distance from Dave and the band?
Yes, I mean I agree.
Yeah, and I really think the band itself. Listen, I'm not. Listen, they can do whatever they want. They're grown adults, but I just think that I know that so we had pictures of Jeff and Buddy going fishing. We've had Carter, but multiple people have from last year and this year have seen Carter golfing, right? And not to say that they can't have fun, but listen, these shows affect so many people. And Carter, listen, they could get it again. People who got it in early 2021 got it this year in 2022. And I think that's something that hopefully the band reflects on. And again, we can't control them, but these type of things impact fans, and the fans are paying more. That's the biggest thing. And listen, if it happens, if there's transmission can still happen, but I think, and also the other thing too, I don't know if you noticed this, Connor, the band's not really wearing masks. Have you noticed that? Oh, you're having problem. Okay. So Connor, but the bands, and listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck. There's places I wear masks, my N95, and there's places I don't wear a mask still. When I go out running, when I go out walking, I don't wear a mask. But I'm one person. If something happens to me, I'm sidelined and the show still goes on, right? So it's different for me. And if you have obligations, I think if this is just a reality, we can't debate. We can debate, you could debate about what's your view on if people should still go, but the reality is the insurance part of this, the liability part of this, if somebody's positive, they have to they have to sit out. They have to sit out. And that's why we've had this happen. I mean, listen, if Dave could have went on stage and they could have had some bypass, I'm pretty sure he would have went on stage. But I think he also doesn't want to spread this to people. He's going to be singing through a mic, right? Even if they put him in a little shell or cage, he's still singing through a mic. Plus, that would be horrible for the sound if he was in some sort of chamber. Wouldn't be the same experience. Dave stopped taking the selfie for a little bit of the, for this tour, and so Connor's having some connectivity issues there. But what we'll do, we'll try to, we'll try to get Connor back on another show down the road. We have tons of shows still left. But I think that we're gonna have to. Justin says a cage, a chamber. Yeah, I just, and listen, I'm not saying, I don't want to make it seem like I'm blaming, oh, he should have did, but I'm just saying as a precaution for future mitigation, I think we need to do that. It may be something that's in the best interest of the band. And I'm gonna listen, if you guys see me at shows, right? I'm pretty much right now, I have an N95 and all that. Now, I'm gonna have. I think I need to get another mask because the one I had last night was extremely uncomfortable. But now I'm doing that. I'm not saying. Listen, if you're to me, I don't really care what fans do because as far as in the crowd, right? I really don't care what fans do. But me personally, because of the impacts of getting this, the C19, and just full disclosure, I did get it. I have gotten it, last month, but I'm concerned about spreading this to certain people. And it was a reality check for me. I had been masking on and off, and even the time frame where I got it, I was on and off masking. But I mean, I'm gonna be trying out a couple of different masks. And this is just because I don't want people close to me that if they get this, I don't want it to be me. That's just me. And listen, if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask, right? But it's my perspective has changed because things came back crazy. And the reason I'm doing that too is because I travel a lot. So I'm going to all these shows. I'm going to different events. I'm going to sporting events. So I am going to be masking, at these events, because again, that's my personal choice. So let's see. Connor, can you hear us? Connor, can you hear us? It looks like you have all the bars. It looks like your connection is good. I don't know if you can hear us. We can't hear anything on your end. Hello, Connor. Can you hear us? All right. Yeah, we'll try to bring Connor back on another show. We did talk to him earlier in the tour, but yeah, and that's the thing is we don't know how this happened. We don't even know who has it, right? We really don't technically, and that's the band's right to not disclose that. They don't have to. But this is very difficult, and again, I feel for the people that flew in. I feel for the band. One thing that I saw a little bit of this, and shout out to my folks my friends at Tailgate Caravan. There was someone on there that was just being, the creators of that awesome platform said, hey, I hope they're able to get back soon and all this stuff. And someone's like, oh, you just want them to come back because of the band. Like, it was semantics that the person shouldn't have disrespected the people of Tailgate Caravan. I'll just say that person who criticized was in the wrong, assumed things and all that. But there's a lot of emotions, but let's try to respect each other and try to look out for each other. Greg says he knows so many people that had tickets and traveled to West Palm Beach this weekend. And yeah, this was the weekend between, you had people who planned this out because of how early it is. Now, here's what I'll say. D&B Mamas talked about a lot of local Florida fans. This is a tough weekend for people to travel, especially if you're not in West Palm Beach. If you're in other parts of Florida, Florida is such a large state where, D&B Mamas, Leia had a 3-hour drive. So for some people to make that down, and some people, they have certain ceremonies for the loved ones in their family that are veterans. And Justin says Connor's mic has COVID. He's- he's- so yeah, he said, yeah, like, sorry, rest in peace to the mic of Connor right there. That was tough, but that was a good one. Justin's got some. He's funny. Justin's always been funny here on the streams. But you had some people that were planning to go, and you also had people who saw this tour heat up as far as Dreaming Trees being given out. A lot of songs are being given out in abundance. So they're like, hey, I probably will get break free and break for it. Let me fly down to West Palm Beach, especially if the band decides to rotate some of these songs out. We've seen that with songs. We've seen songs hit the Northeast, or even some songs hit the South, and then they just don't come back. Songs hit the West Coast. They weren't played at the first part. So when something is hot like this, where you have Dreaming Trees played in 3 shows, Two Step played in 4 consecutive shows at one point in this tour, um, you know, people want to hop on this, and West Palm Beach was going to be this time. For some people that added this on, and then some people who made this trip. It's interesting because I went to a show last night. I went to Goose in here in New Haven, Connecticut, and I think Memorial Day impacted the night one. The rain in Memorial Day impacted the crowd. The crowd was a lot smaller than I thought, but I think it was because it was Memorial Day weekend. People had other plans, uh, you know, other than going to these Goose shows, and Goose draws well. They filled up Mohegan Sun for 2 nights. Oh my gosh. Justin says, I think Dave hit the beach before the show and got eaten by a shark. Baby shark. Da, 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 da. By the way, if you're a parent, I know some parents hate that song. Working in childcare with toddlers at my church, that Baby Shark song works wonders. I know it's annoying, but it can be a mechanism to calm infants, toddlers. So that's a great song, a great technique to use that. Yeah, Goose is a Connecticut band, but I really think Memorial Day, because Memorial Day, first of all, you have people again who recognize this as a remembrance, but you also just, for a show like that in Connecticut, it's like you have some people that are traveling. It's really the first, so it's a tough spot to have it in, especially in New Haven. If it was in New York City, even though they are Connecticut born and raised, they're from Wilton, Connecticut, and so they're from that southern part of Connecticut. They had it in New York City, it probably would have been filled out or sold out. Brooklyn Bowl, King's Theater, whatever you have, it probably would have been full. Ever heard of Wilco? Yes, I have, and Wilco is going to be at the venue I was at last night. Wilco and Built to Spill are going to be at the Westville Music Bowl. So yeah, I've heard of Wilco. I haven't really listened to their music per se, but I have heard of them. I've heard they're a pretty solid band there. And again, they'll be on tour with Built to Spill this summer. And yeah, it's just, and we also had our friends, I believe it was Smashing Pumpkins. Shout out to Sean and Ruth. They're two local uh, tri-state area folks from New York State and Connecticut. They went down to Charlottesville to see Miller's and to see the Roy's gravesite this week. And the Smashing Pumpkins tour was, whatever that show was canceled. It was canceled. So there was someone, they they went down to see a show, like to see Smashing Pumpkins in a different part of the country, drove 8 hours from the Northeast. They at least got to see Miller's, and they at least got to see Roy's grave and the Pink Warehouse, but they really went for that show. So this is something that's been happening across my Johnny Swim tickets. I can't go to the rescheduled Johnny Swim show because it's the same night as Mansfield Night One. I just realized that like last week. I was like, oh no. So Johnny Swim, who I just mentioned earlier in the show, they're going to be the same night for the Ocean City Fest as DMB. Their lead singer, Abner Ramirez, or co-lead singer, because his wife is Donna Summer's daughter, is the other part of that. Jessica, or yeah, Jessica. She's Donna Summer's daughter, and they're a duo. And Abner got it. The rest of the people didn't. But he, like, that was right before the weekend they hit up Connecticut and New York City and Boston. So I was bummed out as well. Had a date night set up with my girl and had to cancel at least that part of it and figure out something else to do. So it was tough. It was a midweek show too. So we had this thing we are going to do midweek, and then all of a sudden it was postponed and moved to the date of Mansfield's night, the Mansfield show for DMB. So yeah, the Ocean City Fest. Let's look at that Ocean City. And actually OAR and the festival liked my post, because I said it was like one of the things I said, you can go to 3 nights of this Ocean City Fest And for 3 nights of this festival, it's cheaper than a single day ticket for Sound on Sound. So this is Ocean's Calling. And again, Johnny Swim, if you guys go, definitely get there for Johnny Swim. They're an awesome duo out of Nashville. Again, Jessica is the daughter of Donna Summer and Bruce Sudano. They're both musicians. And then Abner comes from a family of musicians as well. You got Group Love, Dirty Heads, OAR, Dave and Tim. Dave and Tim are going to be playing there. Night 2, Lumineers, Cage the Elephant, Logic, Young the Giant, Jimmy Eat World. I would love to see Jimmy Eat World. I used to love their music back in my teenage years. Alan Stone, who's opened up for DMB. And the last night, Alanis Morissette, Cyndi Lauper, Sublime with Rome, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, right? You got some Big Head Todd and the Monsters. They used to tour with DMB. And at one point, they were like bigger than DMB, and then DMB got bigger than them. So the Samples, and then a special set by OER and Friends on Sunday. So just very, 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 very dope. And again, the pricing of this festival for one night, it's $185 plus fees. So this festival, I'm telling you, actually, it looks like did the price go up? I think the price went up because the early birds are out. Yeah. So they've been selling it. Now it's $225, but still for this tier 3 ticket, right? It's still like the same price of one day of Sound on Sound for 3 days. $225, right? Plus fees. And 225 divided by 3, that's $75 a day for just the regular general admission. General admission plus is about just over double that. 3-day VIP is 800. What was the original? The original was 575. So even doing that, the original, if you got it right out the gate, and I believe they've sold out of these. That's $287.50 a day for VIP, right? And then they have platinum. Obviously, this is what is this? You get access on stage for viewing at the main stage, front of stage viewing areas at all stages, and elevated viewing at main stage. Ask access to open air platinum lounge, relax seat. So yeah, Atlantis and Dave used to have a thing, but the thing is, I don't think they're gonna be playing together. We talked about this, I believe, in another stream. They used to, but Dave was dating his wife at the time, and he kind of, you know, there's a song called "Unsent" by Unsent Unsent by Alanis Morissette, and one of the lyrics, one of the verses says "Dear Matthew," and it's pretty much Dave had this girlfriend. They had Dave and Alanis kind of had chemistry, but Dave's like, listen, I can't, I can't I can't date you because I have a girlfriend. So they used to have, they had a little chemistry going, but Dave, I think, picked the right woman. Obviously, he's happily married, and it is what it is. And Atlantis is happily married. She found some dude at a yoga. Atlantis found her man at a yoga session. And listen, it became more than just yoga. All right. it was definitely a lot more than yoga. That's what I tell you, because now they are together, right? So yeah, yeah, she met her dude at he's a rapper. He's like a rapper, and they did a collab song. So they're both happy. Good for them. Right. So yeah, there's that. All right. So uh I hope I'm able to stream next week. I really do. I really hope I'm able to stream. Just some more content coming up on my channel. Goose. I will be having a Goose review. I was supposed to finish it today, but then the DMB news broke. I'll be having some information. I met my girlfriend at the bingo tournament. He says that. He said I met my girl at a bingo tournament. So that is not true. Actually, I met my girlfriend. We both grew up in the same church, and as we got older, things started to. We just met. We started dating during the pandemic. So yeah. Um, what else? Yeah. So yeah, Goose review. For those of you, just to tell you now, I know some people are asking, "Oh, how is Goose?" Some people are going to be checking out Goose for the first time. One thing I'll just say is they are a band that grooves. And if you were looking to have a good time, give them the first. It took the first set for me to really, and I've been listening to the music, but the first set was like I had to ease into it. The second set, I was dancing and going like enjoying it. But they're a great band, and they were inspired. I was talking to Nick B from well, he's from Connecticut, but he lives out in Vermont. He knew the band. He was watching this band in small clubs in 2016, 2017. He said that the lead singer of the band was inspired. The songwriting part of it was he was Dave Matthews is someone he looked up to, and they're Humphreys McGee. Like they all went to Humphreys McGee shows, so they were influenced by them. But they're a great band. Check out my video that'll be coming out tomorrow for that. Again, the Goose review of my show last night. I went to see Goose at Westfield Music Bowl, New Haven, Connecticut. I'll be doing a review of the Abbott Brothers show that I go to on Tuesday at the Westfield Music Bowl. And I got pit tickets. Oh, by the way, if you want to like that show, there's some cheap, I don't know if they're still there, but there were some pretty cheap pit tickets, like really, really cheap pit tickets I got. So I just bought those this morning. I was debating on going to that show. I was debating on going to Goose Night 2. They have a Night 2 show here tonight, but I just said, look, I can't be doing all this stuff. And I already have all these DMB shows. So I said no to Goose Night 2. And yeah. And also Fish. I'll be giving a reaction to my first Fish show. That was supposed to be done. Listen, the whole tragedy with down in Texas. I was recording that. I was on the process of recording it, and I needed a break from making videos for that day. And I had to get ready for the DMB show as well. That was coming up a little later in the week. But the Tampa show, right? Was that the same day? I think it was the same day or next day. But I have a fish video. I'm gonna finish listening back to my first Fish show from April 23rd, 2022, and give some insight and reactions a month later, being able to listen to it on the live Fish app. So I won't play the whole. It's gonna be clips cutting to me after I listen to certain portions of the set. I have some of that recorded. I'll finish that up. So again, some more content on the way. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for coming in. If this is your first time watching this and you're a DMB fan, what I do is after every show, I have a post-show stream and we talk to people from the shows. I have a great enough network now, some awesome people who support me that will allow me to talk to them after a show, right? And I appreciate that, right? Because they could be going down, right? They got their girl, they met a girl at the show saying, "Hey, come to the hotel," and they said, "Wait, I gotta call Conservance 34 for the post show stream, and then I'll come to the hotel room," right? So I appreciate people. But anyway, I talk to people after the show. We get the reaction from the show. There is no wrong answer. I'm open to all opinions, all thought processes for how you view DMB. There's no right or wrong way. I have my opinions for sure, but I am not an echo chamber. I like to hear what other people have to say. So tune in after every Dave Matthews Band show. I will have a show. If the show is not up like 10, 15 minutes after, it's simply because I'm at that show and I'm driving home an hour and a half, 2 hours. Or I have a bad connection at a hotel and I do it the next day, right? I'll record it offline and upload it the next day and record it on with a better connection the next day. So stay tuned. More to come. Twitter, Conserviz34, Instagram, Conserviz34. Every link I put a link up on Twitter. I just hit 800 followers. Thank you guys for the support. I'm at 803 right now. But again, you'll see content from me on my page here. All sorts of DMB stuff and other stuff, right? I talk a little bit of sports. I share a little bit of sports there as well. So thank you guys for the support. It's your boy Conservance34. We are going to end Oh, you know what? We should end with Boa. And we're going to do Boa from, let's see, let me pull this up from Mohegan because I have the actual video. Let's see. Yeah, we'll pull this up. All right, so I'm gonna play the ending. I'm gonna play this Boa, and that'll be the show. So thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate the support. Greg, Justin, Connor, um, Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. I just followed you on Twitter. I saw you were on Twitter. I think we followed each other on IG. Vin, thanks for coming in, supporting your boy Connor. Ryan, oh Ryan, am I going to Camden? I am not going to Camden. Um, I'm not going to Camden. I will be passing up on that one. DMB Mamas, Heinz and Jen were on at the beginning. I don't know if they're still on, but thank you guys for the support. And if you are going to a show, you want to be on this show, hit me up on Instagram, DM, hit me on the comments on YouTube, or mess at me on Twitter. And we'll talk behind the scenes about adding you on. If you are going to a show, you want to be on the post-show stream, hit your boy up. This is Boa from Mohegan Sun Night 1. This is an appropriate song for what's going on here. And I really commend the Dave Matthews Band fans in West Palm Beach right now. Some of them are out at bars right now. You may be watching this and you were out as this is live stream. You're probably out at a bar, out at a gathering of DMB fans. It's amazing how already hours after a canceled show, DMB fans are finding ways to chill on the beach, chill at bars, chill at restaurants, making the best of what's around. We're going to play this Boa. And the special thing about this Boa, the outro jam to this song this is the first time I've heard this outro jam. It's a walk down where Dave is doing the ba, da, 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 over and over, repeating that thing where he's walking down the bass notes as he's strumming. And then you have an awesome sax solo by Jeff Coffin as he's doing this outro, which still made its presence. They did play this a couple other times after this, and I hope it stays. Boa, Mohegan Sun, Boy Conservative 34. Thank you for watching the stream. Like, comment, subscribe. Happy Memorial Day. I always do not want to miss saying this. If you lost a loved one in combat, if you are a veteran who's lost one of your fellow soldiers in combat, or even in training missions, right? Or even what's not considered combat, but somehow there's a tragic loss. We're thinking about those, family members, friends, fellow veterans who were lost in the line of duty. Also, those who are still prisoners of war or mission in action and have not been found. We think of those people as well for this weekend. Spray Conservative 34. We're going to play Boa. Have a wonderful night. Again, try to make the best of what's around, despite some of the difficult things in this world, and also on the DMB front with these postponed shows.